Okay.
So, Hidamari sketch. Um,
Hidamari sketch, my friends, my colleagues.
it's an Iyashikei, which means, what does it mean? Uh,
I don't remember, but basically it is the Japanese equivalent of making a strips comic like you would in an American paper, in which, well, we all know, like Garfield, basically, but a bit longer, a bit more strips for each issue, if you can call them issues, basically, and obviously Japanese instead of American.
and
But
yeah, Iyashikei means healing, apparently. Um,
yeah,
is that
that
the,
is indeed a good way to express it. I didn't remember it was quite that, but yeah, it is the kind of comic, the kind of anime, the kind of manga, if you want, the kind of entertainment that you consume in an attempt to heal your soul through the contemplation of the cosmic void, because nothing fucking happens.
um, yeah. So the first thing that I noticed, I guess, was the budget, which is not there.
Mm.
Um, like they will do anything to in order to um, not animate stuff. Like they will have like literal photographs of food in the show,
Yeah,
to show that somebody's walking. Like they will like change the palette of the screen and then just show the footsteps, and then it jumps to you know wherever the character was
every
headed.
other place must be, yes. Almost as if they are not walking, but rather experiencing a new plane of existence through the change of their consciousness. And therefore, while staying stationary, they explore the universe. A bit like in Dune, when the Spacing Guild takes the spies to move without moving, more or less.
So I think I get the feeling that there's not as much Yashike stuff as there used to be.
Mm,
Um, like people still talk about Keon and like
yeah.
the latest which I can remember, which made a buzz, was something called Euro Camp or something about
Mm.
a bunch of
Oh,
girls.
yeah. I really remember that.
Yeah, a bunch of girls doing camping.
Mm.
So I
The one with Fox Girl, I think, technically was one of these two. How is it called? The Fox Girl that comes to the salaryman, to the Japanese salaryman, because he's so freaking depressed. He's going to die and summon demons into the world. So a way to exorcise the demons is basically to be his housewife. I don't remember now.
I remember the show you're talking about, but I can't remember the show. And then there's another show which I can't remember, which was like a subversion, where like it's a there's been an zombie apocalypse or something like that. But
Yeah. No, fresh.
but the main character is like mentally retarded girl. So
I get what you mean. Yeah, yeah, I remember. I don't remember how it's called.
yeah, so basically, but from her perspective, like everything is like is fine. Basically,
Yeah.
she sees everything like she's in an Iyashikei show, but it isn't, and her friends just play along with it. But um, yeah, other than that, so um, I guess I watched a bunch of videos because I didn't have anything to say about this show. Uh, and so one of the things which I talked about was that back when these Yashike shows first came out, like especially a lot of Western anime fans really hated it because they were used to like more masculine, plot-based, violent, um, and sexual in more of like a overt kind of way. That's the sort of
Yes, absolutely.
that's the sort of thing which they associated anime with, as opposed to normal cartoons which are episodic, where like there's no consequences to what happens in
Yes.
in each episode to the next. And I think a lot of people basically, a lot of those anime fans basically saw. I, I, I think that anime snob is a good example of this. He's an old school anime fan who got into
Mhm.
anime in the 80s or whatever.
Mhm.
So
And as an old fag of the old 4chan, I remember the culture war around moist shit, as we used to call it. Basically, the show when nothing happens and so on and so forth. In a way, it was. A defining moment of 4chan culture. When you talk about anime, because yes, it started like in the early 2000s in a culture in which you still had to procure the material in less than legal ways, and that you would ask for. There were no information, there wasn't much information about the shows on the Western internet, so you had to ask for information to other old facts, basically. And in that context, there was a backlash against shows like this in which nothing happens. But I think that from that, let us say, an healing wave started in the foreign culture, in which slowly but surely these kind of shows were accepted for their obvious philosophical and perennialist value. Like we talked long and hard about how
I,
K-On! Is the archetypical Evolian show, basically. But we don't need to repeat that.
yeah, the smug anime girls probably also helped. I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
though I don't know. I don't think so. I would like to like make a distinction between this sort of Iyashikei stuff and slice of life stuff, because for example, like there's no romance, or there's no self-insert protagonist, um
Mm.
or at least like obviously here he's a self-insert protagonist, but it's not like you have like a male character for the male audience,
Yeah, yeah.
who and all the girls are into him, and it's because those slice of life series also did exist, right?
Mm.
um
You have a straight man protagonist, a straight man character at least, in which obviously you is not meant to represent the audience per se, but by which is the most normal character, basically. So you can by establishing air as a baseline, you can have more distinctive characters and archetypal ones for the rest of the cast. But then people started to always use the same cliches. So
yeah, I guess you could technically, I guess the gimmick of this Yashike in particular was like, oh, they're like in art school,
yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Mm,
we managed to speak up to now without talking about the premise of the show because there's no much plot and no much premise in the show. They're simply cute girls being in an art high school in which it has basically a college, a dormitory of apartments that they live in. So having the opportunity of becoming independent faster and so on and so forth, which is seen as an interesting and a good thing in the show in general terms. And in that, basically, this allows the writers to frame the humor in a way that resembles a bit even some Western shows like Friends, more or less, because you have the a similar dynamic of friends living besides one another, living in the same apartments or as neighbors, and you know the humor and the plot is centered about their daily lives. Eh,
I don't remember. Do you remember ever laughing at the humor in this show?
I remember smiling and being relaxed and appreciating the vacuity. I don't remember laughing like, haha, this is humorous, this is very funny. But I remember appreciating moment to moment.
Yeah, so it's not. So I guess this genre is not just like a slice of life comedy thing. Um,
Yeah.
because
A
that
slice of life comedy, you actually have to make people laugh, and you will often fail. So you have to rely on things like recorded louder and so on and so forth. I don't know if you ever watched Big Bang Theory without the laughing track. It is
I
a
haven't watched.
dystopian.
I haven't watched it even with the laughing track, but I've
It
heard.
is very, yeah. It is barely tolerable with the laugh track. Without it, it is a dystopian nightmare of sociopaths
Uh,
hating one another,
have you
much like Friends.
have you seen Nishijo?
Oh, wait. Perhaps I don't remember the title. Which one was it?
It's the one like where like there's also like a Mussolini parody opening which I shared here. Um, it's the one where like there's a scene where the principal does a German suplet on a deer.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that one. Yes, of course, of course. Yeah, I don't remember the titles that well, to be honest. I should get my shit together and just learn Japanese at some point.
um, so I mean that sort of thing is also different from this, or would you say that this is?
Mhm.
Hmm.
No, I agree that it's not exactly the same thing. It has many of the two things have many of the same influences in common in their origin, in their DNA, basically. But yeah, I agree that that show and those kind of show are based on surreal humor, are based on improbable things happening, and so on and so forth. Here, nothing really improbable freaking happens.
Yeah,
Very little actually happens.
and I guess another difference that these healing shows have when compared to like stuff like Friends or whatever is that like
Mm,
the characters are not really cynical at all. They're uncynical to the point where like it's a bit unrealistic. I don't know,
yeah.
uh, like there's no
So I
drama.
get what
Yeah.
the relationship is taken more on face value. Like in Friends, sometimes you have to ask yourself why the fuck those people are even friends. You know what I mean? They hate one another. They can't stand. Some of the characters they can't stand one another, and they've had like relationship with another character, but then this relationship ended badly, but they still hang out as friends in the same bar and everything. And it strains credulity on the human basis.
Mm.
Here, with genius, I will say, idea that nothing much is fucking happening, you can understand that those people are actually friends and the relationship is wholesome, although each one has their own eccentricities, basically. But you can understand them, you can accept them just remaining friends for the duration of their stay at the school, or longer if they keep contact.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, like I mean, you can kind of it can kind of seem like to me at least like that these shows can obviously like like because there's no tension or whatever like for example the characters don't really have to worry about exams or drama or
Yeah,
whatever like but in another sense this sort of stuff feels more realistic um like than stuff like Friends or whatever where like because
yeah.
I like um yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yes,
I think I get what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I think I get it. Friends contrives to have drama in each episode, basically, because something has to happen, more or less. Like if Joey behaves like a reasonable freaking human being, right, for the whole episode, it's automatically harder to make a plot on the friend's mindset. So Joey at some point has to wake up, get out, and do something fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Here, there is no real necessity of anything really happening. There's no necessity for drama. So there's no contrivance. So there is this contemplation of a peaceful life of girls that want to be artists and that are developing their talent, in which I suppose you can see the nostalgia of the guys making the show, who obviously were artists. So writers and writers, drawers, artists, and so on and so forth. And you can sort of see this on the one side, the idealization of the formative years and the career, and on the other side, the nostalgia for the actually for the parts they actually enjoyed. You know, obviously, when you finish school, you don't remember fondly your rivalry with that guy that wanted to cuck you and take your girlfriend of the time and so on and so forth. But you remember fondly the time that you weren't really doing preparing any exam and you were chilling and you were going to the library to
mm.
not
So
really not really needing to stress.
so I guess another interesting question would be like who are these shows made for? So basically, like all the characters are girls, but most
Mhm.
of the audience are guys.
Mm.
So like because I like there's a Digibro video which I shared where like he was responding to another video by somebody called Under the Scope, and this guy called Under the Scope apparently was arguing that like Hidamari sketch is a feminist anime uh, because the like the fact that they are girls doesn't matter because like the experiences that they have are the same or something. Um, which is kind of weird because like so Digibro argued against this by saying, well, no, if it actually was a feminist show, then it would have actually mattered that they were girls, or something like that. Do you have
That
any?
explains the idea of being able to make a feminist show with these premises, because if you're making a show that by definition should have no drama and no things happening, and at the same time you want the characters to be girls, who we all know it's this hype for drama. So it is a contradiction, basically.
Yeah, and another thing which apparently this Under the Scope guy argued was that oh well, the girls are not sexualized, and Digibro I think correctly pointed out that that's not exactly true. Like
Yeah.
there's at least in the first season there's a bathtub, there's an onsen scene. Um, so there's that. And there's also the teacher who cosplays.
Yeah.
Um, and I haven't watched the two
Yeah,
special.
the same pedophile teacher, one of the most. Yeah,
Hmm?
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Doctor, what were you saying?
No, no, it's alright. Go on.
I'm saying yes, the semi-pedophile teacher, an archetype for these shows from the time of K-On! We all remember that creep
Even in
that
Azumanga, I
was her
think.
teachers, their teachers in K-On!
Yeah.
Yeah. No, okay. So that one was more ambiguous because there were also bigger sisters and so on and so forth. So there was this idea that the girls would eventually break through in adolescence and inside of understanding sexuality, and that would have to be explained to them by someone, more or less.
Mm, so another thing which came up was that oh well, the reason why there aren't any boys is so that to pander to otakus, because if there were boys, then there would be romance, and then the otakus wouldn't be wouldn't like want the purity of the characters to be taken away or something. Um,
Yeah. Also, there is this whole conversation about sexualization, exactly what happens. I think that it is fundamentally different in Japan than it is in the West. Like, on our perspective, shows like K-On! Are barely sexualized because, nothing actually happens that is particularly unwholesome, and same with this show. But on the in otaku, in traditional Japanese otaku culture, this is borderline porn. You know.
and there's evidence for that in the huge number of doujins. It's almost like the creators know that if they create these kind of characters, then
Yeah.
the fans are going to so they're kind of the creators are kind of offloading the burden of making the fan servicey scenes to the audience or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, okay.
Also, now in the age of the internet, we perceive it differently. But it used to be that the doujins and fan work like those in Japan were actually, sold at conventions, were actually talked about. People would artists would check them out at convention to see like the new promises, and perhaps give some guy a work as to ink their manga and stuff like that. So there was this whole making porn was how you got known, more or less, if you wanted to get inside the industry. But now there's not much of an industry left.
Um, so yeah, 'cause speaking of, I guess the internet and computers and whatnot, I don't remember like it's like the internet does not exist in this show. Like none of the characters have a computer, I think. They still have those flip phones, I think. And the most that they do, I think that there was one scene which I noticed in which like they show the computer screen.
Mm.
And like there was an old early 2000s website on it, but the only thing which they do with their phones is occasionally text each other.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
I think it's meant to convey the fact that they are living basically college life, but they are minors. So probably rules have been placed on them by the school direction and their parents and so on and so forth, so that their internet access is controlled and stuff like that. That will make some amount of sense inside of this show. But again, I don't know if it's the intent.
So I don't think that this is like an like the characters don't actually talk about anime or otaku stuff like in
Mm.
some shows, like they do that
Yeah.
overtly, but they don't do it here. But at the same time, I feel like there's stuff that you wouldn't get if you didn't weren't into anime. But if you weren't into anime, you probably wouldn't be, be watching this show. um,
Yeah.
for example, I think it's implied that Sai, the dark-haired girl with the glasses, that she writes
Mhm.
kind of Yuri kind of stuff. Um,
Mm.
just as the author, the mangaka,
Yeah.
used to make Yuri stuff. I don't think that there was any. I guess there was some implied between Sai and Hiro a little bit, but not nothing really.
Like a bit, yeah. But it's very on the verge between intimate friendship between people that live close together and have very similar experiences with the school life and probably their future work life and everything, and outright being getting into a relationship, however, she's like because. The high school girls very pretty young, you know.
Yeah, so I think
So
yeah.
it's ambiguous so that people can make the doji more or less.
Um, so I guess another reason, so I've seen people criticize these kind of shows by saying that like they are like friendship simulators or something. Like like you like imagine you didn't have circle of friends in school or whatever. Like you can just watch this and imagine like you're there or something. Um,
I can see the partial merit of the criticism, but again, I think the key is in healing show. You are supposed to watch this without thought, without permanence, without attachment in your mind and in your heart, basically. It is meant to be a transcendental Buddhist experience that teaches you that a show doesn't have to have a plot, basically. Nothing can happen and it's perfectly fine. And so, even if you narrativize your life in your mind, in the same way, you don't have to strive towards making a story about your life, about being a protagonist of what happens to you and so on and so forth. You can relax,
yeah, I mean
basically.
those
You
kind of
can stare the void.
I mean, the kind of stories of like, somebody who wants to be a writer writes like a very intense story about like they usually suck, to be honest. So another criticism which I've seen made against these shows is that like everybody in the show is happy and like carefree and whatnot, but actually like the animators who make this and the audience who watch this in order to heal, quote unquote heal, that, their lives do not reflect this stuff in any way. So it's like pure
That
escapism.
means all the more that the show is needed. It is an healing show, which implies that you are sick. You know what I mean? You need to heal.
So earlier we said that this show is about creating art or something, but it's not one of those um those shows about making art, which basically they're basically sports manga really, even though they are about making art
Yeah,
like
yeah, I get what you mean.
there's a rival and there's a competition. Um, and it's not like that at all. And like a lot of those shows and sports manga as well. I might have already told you this, but to me, like a lot of those shows feel like end up feeling like empty propaganda for whatever activity that they're promoting. Like like this is the best thing ever. Like you should also pick up a pen and draw or something, or go cycling or whatever activity it is that they're doing. Um, I didn't.
Play
I,
golf.
yeah, yeah. Like this is the most important thing, guys. But I didn't feel that at all here. Like it was trying to promote art as more important than life or some or like as the most important thing in life or something. Um, which I think kind of brings me to that video by No Thank You, which I shared on
Oh yeah.
Twitter. I'll probably put in a link.
Yeah,
So
yes, yes.
yeah, and there's also a reaction video to that video by Digibro, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, so now we are making a reaction to or at least I am making a reaction to both of those. But anyway, so so what I was saying earlier about art and life and whatever brings me to the point to which that video was trying to make by No Thank You. Where he was basically saying that, well, I didn't I don't I still don't see it to be that he was saying that this show is trying to um, erase the distinction between art and life and say that like I just don't see it that to portray
Yeah.
life as art essentially, but I don't.
Well, in on one level, there is this meta conception about artists and writers, drawers, artists, and so on and so forth, making a show about cute girls, basically becoming artists, writers, and so on and so forth. It is also very idealized because you know it is a very drama-free show, as we said. So it is a bit like they are drawing from the good memories of being in art school or trying to develop the artistic talents more than making a general statement about the nature of art and inside a person's life, I'd say. That would require basically having drama. That would require having stress. You will need the writer girl basically there all night, pouring on the page, trying to express a complex feeling and falling short, which is something anyone who's tried ever to write has experienced, I suppose. Or the protagonist, the drawing and being unsatisfied with the anatomy and so on and so forth. But we don't get any of this. We don't get the drive because this is not a drive show. This is a relaxed show. This is not a Western show in which you have to strive. This is an Asian show in which you have to contemplate the sound of one hand clapping, basically.
I see, I see. So,
Man, that sounded good as a snake, man.
um, so let's talk about the show if there's anything. I mean, like the conversation that they have, like, what was the other show that we talked about? Like, my mind is going Lucky Star. Like, at least when it
Yeah.
came to Lucky Star, I kind of felt like, oh, we could talk about like the references that they make to other anime and
Mm.
all the conversations that the weird, stupid conversations about food or whatever that they had there, which were mildly interesting. I but here I don't remember seeing any references to other shows at all.
No, not very.
Um, and the conversations like they are not as sophisticated as the ones in Lucky Star, where like they're talking about like from which end you're going to start eating um, uh, some kind of pastry or whatever it is.
Yeah, I suppose you can say Lucky Star is a bit more on the Friends spectrum than this show. Although remaining a healing show, it's a bit more like some things of importance sometimes happen. You know what I mean? We have to have a conversation here. The stuff must happen day to day. You know,
mm.
a
So
bit more,
yeah,
but not that much more. The intent behind that remains of having a healing show, of showing these girls, of which one is an otaku, with which you, filthy otaku, will identify and will want as your waifu. You know what I mean? And yeah, we are going to have silly little adventures with schoolgirls. You know, nothing is ever going to lead to anything important, of course. But in the moment, some things can be interesting.
So this is kind of a superficial comment, but did you ever feel like the characters' foreheads were like a little bit too wide, like it's like almost reaching the point where like like you see like those pictures when people talk about used to talk about like Westerners trying to draw anime, and then or did you find it cute? I guess purely subjective question.
You mean in the drawing style and character faces, and so on and so forth?
Yes.
I mean, it is a bit on the uncanny valley, but it remains on the side of the cute. Like they don't really look human, but they don't even they don't they also don't really look like abhuman, like some kind of creature that tries imperfectly to imitate a human, so he can hunt you down. You know what I mean? Some nightmare of speculative evolution, like in some other shows instead. Absolutely, they do like Chobit.
Um, yeah, this show somehow got 4 seasons.
Mm,
Um, um, okay, so I guess we could quickly go over through the main cast. Um,
yeah.
so the protagonist is Yuno. Um, I, I guess is she an introvert? Mm,
Mm.
she's kind of timid, I guess.
Yes,
Um,
she starts pretty introverted, at least, or perhaps scared about a bit about the new situation and the changes in their lives. But I think she progresses a bit in the course of the show. She gains a bit of confidence, I suppose, as her art improves and as she knows more people. This is barely inside of the realm of character development, but we get what we get in here.
yeah. I guess. What else do we get? I guess we get the fact that I think that they're not all in the same age group. I think there's
Mhm.
a bunch of characters who are older, uh, who are like in the last year of school or something.
Yeah,
Um,
I seem to remember that Sae is 1 year older than you, 1 or 2 year older than Yuno. She's an upperclassman. The writer girl, the girl with black eyes, black eyes, and the glasses. And I don't remember the age of the other two, to be honest.
the reason that that might have some significance is because I think there's a quote unquote a dramatic moment when I only watched season one, but apparently at some point later on, some of the characters have to graduate, and usually these kind of stories, um, at, at least if they're set in a school, they end with the character's graduation, and that like that's the end of their lives or something, um, pretty much.
I suppose you have to have something that happens sometimes.
Mm.
What
Oh,
about? Oh, right. I've got here. We have the blood types, which, as we know, explain everything. Is blood type O. Makes sense because she's introverted and so on and so forth. You remember that bullshit about blood types in Japan that determine your personality as if it was I don't know, the star sign, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, this is the kind of show that records the blood type of everyone, and everyone has a different blood type because else you would have to have two similar characters. It is backward fucking logic that they are using.
Yeah, they all have different blood type. Yeah, they all of
Yeah.
them. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, so I guess Yuno is sort of the character we are supposed to. She's like the
Mm.
main character basically. But there's nothing else special about her. Really, nothing.
Is the straight man like the others all have a little gimmick that make them a little less normal but a little more interesting, and she's there for the contrast to make the baseline basically. So she's the one through which we see this setting.
Okay, so next there's the character which I think spends most time with Yuno and is probably the same age is Miyako.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
blood type B. Um,
Yeah,
with
blonde hair.
okay, and she's poor. I remember that. She's poor. She
Yeah,
eats
yeah.
everything that she can get her hands on. She sleeps on
Mm.
a what do you call it when like you have to
Futon.
um is it a futon or does she tie have to
Yeah, yeah, I don't remember exactly. I get what you mean.
yeah yeah,
Mm.
but she also doesn't have a bed, yeah. um
Yeah.
yeah, but she's despite the fact that she's poor and she doesn't have food to eat or something, she's always cheerful.
Yeah, yeah.
um what
Energetic,
energetic,
you
yeah.
will say.
What else is there to say about her? I guess she's kind of dumb, but then they're all like that, except maybe Sai. Which,
I wouldn't say dumb, I would say mature, like she's what, 14, 13, something like that. What do you want from her? You know, you know.
yeah, it's either that or it's either somebody pretending to be mature or something like that. It's one of those. I guess the mature one would be the next one, Sai, the one with the glasses.
Yeah.
Um, the writer.
Was a little bit older than them, like 16, 18, when the others are 14, 16, more or less. She graduates, I think, in the end at that point. And she's the writer, which is interesting that she's the older one because you imagine that she would use the ability in writing and the proficiency with the written and spoken word, let us say, to help a bit with the maturity of the others, basically, playing a bit of the older sister because she can explain things to them more efficiently than the other way around. But in reality, she's a goof because this is a leaning show. Nothing fucking happens.
And then finally there's Hiro, which I guess she's always trying to diet, but she fails, and that's all that there is to her character that I can remember. And
Mm.
there's there's something wrong with her hair, which just like I don't know, it's like it's kind of alive, like a Medusa or something. But I never really got what the gag about that was supposed to be. Um,
Yeah, like she has unruly hair that she must be always combing, but she's also 14, so she doesn't really realize that she has to always comb them, probably. And she lives on her own, so she doesn't have parents telling her, "You fucking hair, keep them in order, you retarded, you retarded girl."
I mean,
So it causes it causes stupid situation, I suppose. I
yeah.
suppose this is the whole idea.
I mean, in reality, I imagine that in a Japanese high school, like basically like even if your parents don't care, the teachers will tell you essentially.
Yeah, I would suppose so.
I
But you
guess,
know, this is another high school. Perhaps they are a little more relaxed about that.
yeah. Speaking of,
The sensei.
yeah, the sensei. Yeah, exactly. I guess she's kind of crazy. She likes to cosplay,
Yeah.
and they kind of,
It is explained in the context of where the dress sense is very cosplayish, basically. Like she learned how to dress herself by going to cons, basically, which speaks of a dramatic life before in the younger years when obviously her mother didn't give a shit about her because she let her go out dressed like that. And you know, despite that, I think she's pretty relatively wholesome as a character and relatively cool teacher to have in an art high school, I suppose.
apparently, I think that she lives with her parents because, sometimes I remember that she complained that she was kicked out,
Yeah.
and the characters are like,
You know, you can live with your parents, but your parents still don't give a shit. That's not mutually exclusive.
yeah. I think there was one time where like she ran away from home or something,
Yeah.
and the other characters are like, like a middle school or something. Are you a middle school? Like inside their heads, they're going like that. Um,
She must be between 23 and 25, something like that.
yeah. I
She
mean,
don't. She must not be too much older than that.
yeah. I mean, when one of the characters asked her what her age was, the sensei replied, "Eternally 17." Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Which reminded me of a Japanese kind of otaku idol or
Hmm.
whatever, denpa
Yeah.
musician called Under 17, and the thing was that like her age, whatever it really was under 17, always under 17.
Yeah.
um,
She's fucking 40, but I am under 17.
yeah,
That was the
um,
whole gag. Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah, okay. So yeah, I guess one of the things which might have changed with with stuff like Eurocamp and whatnot is that like for example that and there was another one about a bunch of girls going to Antarctica, which is ridiculous,
Oh,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, uh,
I haven't seen it, but you know, it is already a step away from an healing show because stuff must happen because they must end up in Antarctica. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And so yeah, I guess that's sort of the problem, and maybe that's why at least with these older ones, it's always set
Mhm.
in a high school or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
it.
also remember one in which they are a camping club, like they are hiking, they are making camp, they are cooking in the wild, and so on and so forth. Which in Japan, which you know, it still has a good proportion of wild freaking forests and places in which bears can eat your lunch because you left your stuff outside the tent for 5 minutes. I suppose it is a bit something has to happen in there. You know what? Every once in a while.
Hmm. So, were you able to watch the show to the end? Because I only watched season one.
I watch only season one.
I see. I see. Um.
I
Okay.
appreciate it, but I didn't particularly feel the need to heal in that moment. Yes.
Yeah. I think it probably was a mistake for me to binge this. I don't think it's that sort of show.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, earlier you said like that it's like a comic book strip, so it would be like binging a bunch of comic book strips one after the other, which is obviously not how they're meant.
Like reading 300 Garfield strip on
In one.
in a row. Okay. Okay, not Garfield. Garfield is a cruel comparison. Dilbert.
Yeah, that's yeah, that sort of thing. Um, so I think the reason why, so basically in preparation for this stream, because I didn't have anything to say about this show, I watched a bunch of videos, and um, a lot of them made a big deal about the director Akiyuki Shimbo or something. Um,
About?
the director of the anime.
Mm. Ah,
Um,
okay.
I think
I think it's second.
Akiyuki, I think it's called Akiyuki Shimbo.
Yuki Shinbo directed this. I didn't even, I didn't know.
What else has he directed?
No, wait. I'm here and I'm seeing the cover and direction. It says Limura Masayuki.
Oh, is that so? Must have
Yeah.
been must have misheard then. Um, so
Akiyuki Shinbo was. Wait a freaking second. Because.
he was
Okay.
I think he did a chief direction here. It says. Um,
Hmm.
here it says that the direction was by Imura
Okay.
Masayuki, and the
Chief.
chief direction was by Akiyuki Shimbo. Um, which I think, and I think maybe it's because his name was there and he was involved in some way that a lot of people made quote unquote pretentious analysis of the show.
Yeah.
Uh,
I suppose yes. Because. Oh, right. All right. Okay. Okay, now I'm watching the filmography. He did Bakemonogatari. Fuck. I get it now. Quella magica, Maruka magica. I thought it was him.
so I think that's probably why like people like try to like see if there's something deeper to the show
I
than
don't think you can, like, people would say, I suppose he did Madoka Magica. So everything that happens in this show must be an hallucination made by cruel aliens to I don't know, mind control little girls and stuff like that. But I don't know about that.
I mean like there was one neat episode I think episode 5 where like it's Yuno having a fever and having a dream, a bunch of dreams. But
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't. There's not. I mean, it's a bunch of cool dream sequences and whatnot. Um,
Hmm.
and so they're kind of related to like what's happening outside. But other
Hmm.
than that's it basically. Like, oh, yeah. I had a dream where like I did this, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's about it. After the fever gets better, and yeah, and it's basically about how like how all the other girls try to help her and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, I find it. I found it. It was storyboard artist in episode 4, 5, 10, and 12. Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, yes, it was the episodes with the dreams, I suppose.
Hmm. Yeah.
I
I
mean, yeah.
I have not. I've not read the original manga. I don't. I don't like folk yonkoma, whatever they're called. Um,
Mhm.
yonkoma manga, because as you said, they are basically like comic strips essentially. Like, and the paneling is really boring because like it's just like four boxes.
Yeah.
Um. Okay.
I mean, they have their place, like strips in like strips in American papers, in American publication have their place. Obviously, you have we are the comic on the comic page, in which you find the Garfield and you could find a Hidamari sketch, basically. If this was a timeline in which Japanese people can work for the New York Times for the comic page and stuff like that.
Yeah, so one of the recommendations for the show is Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei again by Shaft, but I'm not sure
Okay.
because like like basically Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei tries to make some sort of like first of all it's a lot more cynical and
Yeah.
sarcastic, and I think that maybe this Shaft style maybe works better with that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing rather than a cute girls did.
With a sort of instant humor because you have the instant gratification of a punchline, basically.
Yeah, like basically like Bakemonogatari
Yeah.
style stuff. I mean, it's not that out there here, or maybe it is. I don't know.
Okay, Bakemonogatari is based on the idea that you shouldn't even try to fucking watch it or fucking come near it if you're not a native Japanese speaker because it is for three-quarter wordplay. You are not even supposed to get near that stuff, if you're not Japanese. I don't know why people thought they could localize it. To be honest.
Speaking of localization, I don't think that there was an English dub for Hidamari sketch. Um, and also,
Mm.
and also, um, um, yeah, and also like some of the jokes didn't land because also because like you would need to like the translators would give you like an explanation at the top and the jokes are not like like so funny in the first place, so like when you need to read an explanation for it as well.
But
um
for Monogatari, you need a reading guide, so
yeah, I see. um okay.
it's a bit on another level. It's what I'm saying.
Okay, what else is there to say about this show? I guess another thing which I didn't notice, but which I heard from another review, was
Mhm.
that the titles of the episodes of all the seasons are dates. Like
Mhm.
but
Yeah, it's literally what happened today, basically. And
but
the answer is always fucking nothing.
yeah, and that's by another thing. The titles of the episodes are dates, and the episodes are out of order. So, for example, in season two, you will get stuff dated um, between episodes in season one. Um,
Mhm.
but it almost doesn't matter. so, so
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, we talked about that. He basically doesn't pay them. Okay. They're living in limbo, and so are you. You know what I mean?
yeah. I guess if you really wanted to, you could you know, uh, just watch the
Watch it in order. Watch it in order. Watch in order of episode, or order of days.
or or maybe
Surely through that you will reveal the real plot of Aki Yuki's real
no,
secret of the
no,
series.
if you really want to know if you really want to know the real story, then you need to watch it on the same day as the date as the date on the episode titles.
February, you have to watch the whole February episode and so on and so forth for for a whole year.
I think it should. I think the story covers at least 2 years, so it would take you 2 years to watch this. Um, when did this come out? So it came out in.
2007,
I see. Yeah,
6 or 7.
it says winter 2006 and 7. So okay. It doesn't look that aged to me, at least
No,
probably because of all the tricks that they did to save money, essentially. Um,
basically. But yes, it looks good. No, there's nothing particular to get, you know, to get one's panties in a twist about in the graphic department. It was made very on the cheap, but it is a slice of life story. What do you need? What kind of animation budget do you need? You don't have to animate people fighting with stands. You know what I mean?
So the review on AnyDB, there's one review, and he claims that this is pretty much the best work Shimbo Akiyuki has done. I don't know about that. uh, yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, I guess this show has a very small fan base. For example, that guy called No Thank You calls it his favorite show, even though he only has one video about it, the one which I shared, or at least, like, or maybe he has other videos where he talks about it. But the problem with his videos is that, like for example, even that Hidamari sketch video, like he doesn't just talk about Hidamari sketch. He will talk about Hidamari sketch for a while, and um, then he'll talk about then it will cut. It'll be another video. So it's a bunch of smaller videos put together essentially, and then he will somehow try to come back to yeah, but it doesn't always work because yeah. Anyhow, um,
He does it like the series. He's jumping in moments of time of no particular importance, so you can watch it at any word.
yeah. So the title of the video, of course, is like some clickbait about like the bathing scene, the onsen scene. Um,
Yeah.
but but he talks about it for like um, not even a minute. Like so, yeah. That's basically clickbait.
Yeah, but it becomes a whole meme because the betting scene.
Okay, so I'm trying to think very hard for memorable scenes or something. I guess I guess we could. It's very short, so maybe if I go on Wikipedia, um, it will have a
I
break.
suppose the scenes in which what's her fucking name? The girl with the brown eyes try to cook. They offer some entertainment value with
Um,
the food literally being photographs of food and so on and so forth.
Sorry, which scene are you talking about?
The scenes with the cooking girl trying to cook with the food being literal photographs of food and so on and so forth. I suppose that offers a modicum of entertainment value for at least for the aesthetic sense.
Hmm. So another thing which I remember
Yeah.
hearing when I watched the reviews was like people saying, I guess people talking about the rewatchability value. Um, I I don't because I like because there's no continuity. I mean, there is technically continuity. Even if you
Yeah.
rewatch it, I doubt that you would notice like, oh, this was foreshadowed. So, that doesn't exist. Uh,
Mm.
so I don't know.
On the other hand, you can wait a year, forget that you ever watched this, basically, because nothing left a real impression, and watch it again like it was new. You know.
Mm,
So inherently, it has the watchability value because it's
I,
like uh, it's like repeating the experience all over again, watching it the first time.
you get amnesia after you watch it. Uh,
Yeah. Which is the intended effect, obviously. You are contemplating a cosmic void, and your experience becomes a warm blanket, basically, of existence and non existence at the same time. And obviously, you don't remember the details of the show after that, but you remember the piece. And
and the moe.
The world wholesome feeling of nothing really mattering and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, so there's only like 12 episodes in season one, so let's quickly go over them. So episode one, because otherwise, like this video right now is like 90% stuff not like related to Hidamari sketch, but not, we didn't really talk about Hidamari sketch. Um,
I mean, I mean,
there's nothing to talk about. Yeah, I know. So in episode one, Yuno had forgotten to do her homework. I guess I'll share the link to the Wikipedia as well if you can't understand what I'm saying. Okay, so Yuno had forgotten to do her homework in time for Yoshio's class, so the sensei's class, and I guess that was pretty funny when like she not pretty funny but funny when when Yuno asks Yoshino senpai like because Yuno has forgotten about doing her assignment for her break or
yeah.
something, and like she asked Yoshino sensei for Yoshinoya God Yoshinoya sensei for some time to um, do the homework, and she's like, too bad, you know, which was funny, I guess, because like just didn't care. She just didn't care. Um,
So
so
what? The most powerful words in
so
the
yeah,
universe.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she has to finish it during lunch break. After school, Yuno and Miyako play in the snow for a while, and later. Oh yeah. Oh, look at the table. Like there's look at the notes there. So A is the episode order. C is chronological order. Like it's important. It's important enough to be on the wiki. Uh,
Oof.
yeah. So after school, Yuno and Miyako play in the snow for a while, and later visit Hiro's apartment. So Yuno can thank her for the rice bowl Hiro gave her for lunch, but it sort of turns out that she was dieting or something. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well,
yeah.
you know,
So basically, like, Yuno was being a little bit too, I guess, too grateful, but then she
I
said,
suppose
yeah. But that's the conflict. That's the conflict. Drama.
that's the conflict. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, this is the episode in which we see the landlord. Like we see her in 2, 3 episodes or something like that. The landlord, but she's actually based and probably the only girl that you can waifu in this show without feeling like a pedophile or someone who exploits the mentally handicapped, like with
with the
with the
teacher.
Shisha.
Yeah, with the teacher. Yeah. Um, so episode two, Yuno and her friends have been given the task to create a new sign for the Hidamari apartments. Oh, drama. And they set to divide the work equally. Communism. Afterwards, it is discovered that Miyako's rent is much lower than the others have to pay. Oh, it's time for revolution. And Sai goes to the landlord to discover why. That night, that night, the summer festival starts, and Yuno and her friends go and have fun. Yeah, so basically the reason why what was the reason why the rent was lower? But yeah, basically like the landlord is lazy or something, and she decided she only I think she just started doing she only did repairs in Yuno's room, and uh, I don't know the poor girl uh, she just has to live in the shitty apartment with the water leaking and
What
under
basically,
under the floorboards, like which is like a carpet. They can just take it off. Like there are some packets which apparently can catch fire if water gets onto them. So basically, if there's no bucket, apparently because she keeps a bucket to collect the water, and there's a danger of the whole place catching fire. Later on, like they somehow,
With a
yeah,
freaking with 1 second gone, but I'll be right back. 1 second.
that's all right. Uh,
Okay.
okay, in the meantime, I'll just check whether the stream actually works. Let's check whether the stream works, or else, or if anyone has left any comments, which I doubt. But okay, let's have a look. Yeah, no comments as I expected, but is the audio working? Uh, it's connected to my Bluetooth. Okay, my audio works. Yeah, yeah. Forza's audio also works, and we have been talking about this for an hour. We somehow hit the 1 hour mark. Uh, yeah. Are you back? Maybe not. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I guess I'll have a look at some reviews or something. Um, Sorry. Apparently, they tried episode shuffling. It didn't work. Yeah, apparently they tried so I'm reading a review from AnyDB. So apparently they tried episode shuffling like Haruhi Suzumiya. It didn't work, whereas Haruhi had a main story um, with canon filler stories in between. Hidamari's sketch is simply school life with the focus being a random day of every month of the year. This garners, yeah, I back.
Right.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'm back.
yeah. Yeah, apparently like e- um every episode is a random day of the month
Mm.
of every month. So basically each episode is, so you have a one episode which is from one someday in January, another from February, and so on.
Mm.
Yeah. Um yeah, and yeah, apparently they tried episode shuffling because of Harui, but obviously it's different. Doesn't work here because there's no plot. Um, so, episode 2, Yuno and her friends create the new sign for Hidamari apartments. I think,
Mhm.
I believe that Hidamari is supposed to be like, they take, like, it's not the literal name of the apartments. They take a character from each of their names, of their names or something, which is kind of cliche.
Why didn't notice if they did so? It is I only ever see it referred as Itamari apartment, but I don't know.
Hmm. Afterwards, it is discovered. Yeah, we already read that Miyako's rent is lower. Episode 3. um, yeah, I mean, like last week we talked about an anime called Ango, and and that was 11 episodes and a special, and it took us forever to talk about each episode. But look at how much faster this is. Um, so episode 3 is titled Oran in June, so it's from June 17th. Oran Indian, and yeah, it's kind of funny that they give the hyperlink to India, as if like you know you would start like searching about India after watching this episode or something. Um,
Hmm.
so Yoshinoya starts her class with her trying to get her students to sketch in various outfits. So basically, Yoshinoya cosplays and tries to get
Yeah.
the students to draw her, but that annoys the principal, who
Hmm.
I don't think he has. Does he have any dialogue, or is he just grumbling throughout? I think he does have a little bit of dialogue, but yeah, it's just a comic.
Yeah, like I think he has a couple bits, a couple, you know,
But
I suppose, but I don't remember because again, this show is a big, fluffy, comfortable cloud in my mind. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, it did put me to sleep 2 times, so I guess it did. I don't know if that if that counts as healing. But yeah, but to be fair, I was in bed. Don't a fair warning to anyone watching this: don't watch this while being in bed, or you'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
Um,
Watch it in the middle of the day while drinking Monster Energy or something.
yeah. It's. I think this kind of feels like a summer kind of series. Um,
Hmm.
for some reason, a summer or
Yeah.
spring. Yeah.
Either
Um,
summer or like in the middle of the working months of the year, like February to March and so on and so forth, when you are tired, you know, you have done everything and you put Hidamari sketch and you just say, yes, cute girls, tell me about your day too, you know?
yeah. So after some intervention from the principal, they settle on sketching a bust of Brutus. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, obviously they need to make the joke about like it's too Brutus or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
later that day, the four main characters get in Miyako's leaky apartment, and
We have
yeah,
we have to see it basically.
yeah. And the reason why it's called the episode is called Oran Indian is because basically what happens is that uh, I think they're drawing with charcoal or something. And
Mm.
Yuno falls asleep while drawing Brutus. At least,
Ah.
and she falls asleep and her head hits the canvas, and this leaves a dot on on the head, yeah, on the head of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
of the
yeah,
drawing.
yeah.
And
I suppose if you want to talk about it further, that this is the third episode in order of showing and the third episode in chronological order. This must mean something.
mm, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Are there any other
Yeah.
episodes like that? Is that the only episode? Uh,
I think not, because yes, 7 and 7.
mm,
Every once in a while there will be an episode like, okay, 9 and 6, the opposite, like the
yin
number
and yang.
turn round. Yeah, that must mean
That's
something.
it.
And I think no, nothing else.
Yeah. So somebody like should do those one of those pretentious analysis where like they divide and multiply the numbers until it gets into a meaningful number.
Well, number 3, the number of the spirit, and number 7, the number of perfection, which implies the union of spirit and matter. But the number of matter is 4 and is paired with 2. This must mean something, you know.
Yeah.
And in
Uh,
the other order, 4 in order chronological is paired with 6 in order of showing.
I
This
mean,
too must mean something.
forget about Evangelion and all that, like on the nose, all that on the nose symbolism. This is the real thing. It like
This is real shit, man.
like
And also 6 minus 4 equals 2. The difference, like like it was before the second episode, in order, chronological order being the 14 showing. It all fits. They're trying to tell us something. Like you,
yeah. Um, yeah. So basically, she ends up as accidentally making a dot on the head of
yeah.
the paint the drawing of Brutus she was drawing, and then she's like all flustered, and then Miyako, who is energetics, just she just purposefully puts a dot on on her own drawing to make her feel better or something. And when Yuno is like, well, this doesn't actually solve anything. Um, Miyako
Mm.
goes and puts a dot on the statue itself. Uh, um,
Nice.
okay, so episode
Episode
4,
4.
the singing shortcake. today at school, Yuno and Miyako get to go outside during class to sketch something due to the weather being nice that day. Later,
Nice.
later Yuno and her friends go to a karaoke bar where Hiro is determined to lose some weight while listening. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, I think that they literally just sit on like there's a rainbow on the street for some reason, like on the
Mhm.
floor, and they sit there and start sketching people. Which didn't make any sense to me. Why would there be? Maybe it was a carpet or something. I didn't notice them putting it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, like I remember seeing them sitting, sketching people, and so on and so forth. I thought it is something that realistically should happen in an art school, I suppose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they were sitting like on the floor next to like a zebra crossing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, about the karaoke scene. I guess the whole point of that scene was the gag about Hiro trying to lose weight while singing.
I,
Um,
sup-
yeah, it's not like it's
I
not.
mean, I don't think she even needs to lose weight, to be honest.
I guess the standards in Asia yeah, are different, or maybe it's just that like again because like you don't actually want some real tension, right? You don't want to see like
Mm,
somebody actually struggling to lose weight or something. Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh, you want.
But this is a bit. I think there is something to say in Japan about showing people actually losing weight. That is something that they probably should do because there is all this pressure about looking thin, despite I don't know, despite the diet being hypocaloric, and so people usually being thinner than in the West anyway, and having an ectomorphic body usually. But despite that, there is always this creeping fear that I perceive basically in a lot of shows about, oh no, I'm getting fat, and I look at the character and say, no, you're not getting fat. The fuck you want? Go to the gym. You know.
Mm,
I think but it is potentially pretty bad because if you start giving people eating disorders for this stuff, I think it's worse than an alternative. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is mostly aimed at otaku. So even though you see like a cute girl on screen, then again, I guess the otaku probably are thin as well. Probably, I guess in Japan, especially if
And, you know.
if they only eat
Mhm.
uh, like in those. I mean, when it comes to otaku stereotypes, there's the fat one and the thin one. So
Yeah.
yeah, they both exist.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess to be honest, I also think that it's because probably the artist doesn't really want to draw fat women. Um,
Yeah. Suppose.
okay. So
But,
yeah,
there is a spectrum. You can show a girl which was a little bit not exactly thin and as a fucking nail without glorifying being fat. You know what I mean?
I mean it's
I
this
would.
it's the same with another good example of this would be that show called How Heavy Are Your Dumbbells?
Oh,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where like the girl is supposed to be fat, but she really isn't.
No, she's
Yeah.
not.
But again, like I kind of feel like it's mostly to motivate fat otaku to go. But then again, women also watch this stuff, I guess.
Mhm.
Um,
Well,
yeah, I would say probably less with how heavy are your dumbbells because that's clearly
yeah.
aimed at guys. But
Hmm.
with this show with this Iyashikei show, shows, I think it's more gender neutral. I think it both be more.
I suppose.
I still would say the
Dumbbells.
most. Yeah,
Mhm.
I still would
No,
say.
no, it's gone.
Yeah, I still would say it's mostly guys, but
Yeah.
I mean, when I imagine like the average K-On fan, the average K-On profile picture, I don't think
Mhm.
that that's a girl watching that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't
All
know.
I wanted to say is that Dumbbell is also a propaganda show because the girls want to go to the gym also because they are looking for a guy that to be with basically. So yeah, they are more or less explicitly saying you fucking otakus should go out, touch grass, go to the gym. And in the gym, you'll see that even if you're a bit fat, or even whatever the fact, you will find a girl that wants to fuck you. And
it's
so this
it's
civilization
it's
can
no
go
it's
on.
Nomi propaganda. It's no Nomi propaganda something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this civilization can, not collapse. You know what I mean?
yeah. Um, I don't. I don't think I don't think that it's the otakus not reproducing that's causing the low birth rate. But yeah,
I don't either, but I get this feeling that the Japanese government is convinced about this, by
yeah, yeah,
several shows. I think in several shows the Japanese government telling people to fuck, you know.
yeah. And yeah,
Traveling in France doesn't make sense in any other way, basically. We know what this plot is about. Yeah, people must fuck. Civilization must go on. Get to it. Fucking degenerate.
or else there won't be anyone to make our anime. Like so.
Exactly.
um,
We made you a waifu. Who is going to make you the waifu if we go extinct? Nobody. So go out and fuck.
exactly. I don't know if the message was that here um, in
No, I
Hidamari
don't think
sketch.
it is. Yeah. It's always there.
Okay.
What episode were we? Five? I think five.
I guess this is not relevant, but we are not talking about stuff which is relevant anyway. But this the karaoke scene did sort of remind me of the karaoke scenes in Lucky Star, but I think the ones in Lucky Star were more interesting
Yeah,
because
a little bit similar, but in Lucky Star, the people are still contriving to make stuff up in a way or another. At least in the context of one episode, you know what?
no, I mean if maybe I'm misremembering, but at the end of every Lucky Star episode, wasn't there like a karaoke, like the voice
Yeah, yeah.
actors, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah, that one. Okay, okay.
and I guess that was more interesting because like you would want to know where the song, what is it from? Whereas there was nothing like that here. Um, so the next one is episode 5, February 13, Heart and Body. Mm.
Oh,
So Yuro comes down with a cold and has to stay home for the day. While asleep in her apartment, Yuno has several odd dreams of school and her friends. They, they could have described the dreams here because I can't remember them. So meanwhile, Yuno's friends do all they can to help her get better. Do you remember
and
anything?
this is one of the episodes, 4 and 5 are two of the episodes directly directed by Yaki Yukishimbo. And as we were saying, this is one of the weird dream episodes. I suppose he was just bored and wanted to do something interesting.
Hmm.
But okay.
So yeah, but I can't remember anything about the dreams because again, it doesn't really have any significance. It's just like a yeah,
She's dreaming her friends. She has a fever,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, and like she's literally red, like uh, and and, and what else was there? Oh, like I think like they show the mailboxes at the start, and on the mailboxes like they are color coded according to the hair color of the characters, and on each of them like there's the temperature, the body temperature of each of the girls, and it cuts to that here and there, which I guess counts as creative or something. Um,
Great screenwriting, great moments of world building, I'd say. Like the body independence is not something that exists in this world, basically, because the government school takes your temperature independently of your will and will mandate sick days and not sick days, basically. And, we live in a society. Let's go on.
yeah, episode six, cool and comfy. Okay, that describes. I don't think that's the audition.
Describes the show, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I'm not sure if what they're saying in Japanese is the same. I guess the sentiment must be the same. Um,
I
because it's so much
suppose,
longer. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I suppose they got for a spiritual translation. Let us say.
Um,
Summer has arrived, and once final exams are over, Yunon and friends enjoy the beginning of a summer vacation. Due to Yuno not knowing how to swim, Miyako gets out an inflatable pole that Yuno and her friends play with, though they eventually go to the beach. Okay,
fan service, I guess.
uh, no, this is a important episode because we see like first of all we are flat out told that what they are doing at school is completely secondary to the show, which leads us to ask, okay, but what is primary to the show then? Because we are not shown anything about them preparing the final exams, studying for the nothing of this weak shit. No, we know what we want. We want cute girls swimming because this is a fucking alien show, and so it is at least exploited to show like the characters becoming real friends and helping each other out and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What do I know? I'm just improvising. Everyone knows that.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Okay. It it kind of looked very childish, like that they were half the age that they actually were, like the way that they were the way that they were playing in that inflatable pool. I don't know. I can't imagine. I'm not sure if if at that age I would have as much fun as they had in a small inflatable pool, uh, like that. But
No, you can stay there and stay cool and
mm.
stay comfy. Cool and comfy. You see, that's the heart of the show. And
Oh,
it's a short 12 episode. This is episode 6, so it is the art both spiritually and literally, basically.
so another one
I
of
don't know what the fuck I'm saying at this point, bro.
yeah. So a typhoon hits during the day of the festival,
Ooh,
sports festival. There was a sports festival. Huh? Oh yeah, there was. Now I remember. And has to
yeah.
be called off until the next day, when the typhoon has already blown over. Later on, Yuno and her friends are in Miyako's room, worried if the drying agents under her floor get wet, they will ignite and catch the building on fire. Miyako gets the idea to remove them all and throws them into the rain outside, but it does not catch fire. Um,
Even the idea, the possibility of something dramatic happened here is deconstructed, basically. If Shimbo there is watching you and looking you in the eye and saying, "Yeah, you think something is going to happen
no,
in here,"
no.
we don't get it, do you?
um, yeah. So that's what. Now let's look at episode 8. Um, Yuno and her friends have a day off from school, and after waking up, Yuno starts to draw. Miyako
Mhm.
arrives soon after, and sits down with Yuno as they draw various things together. Yuno,
Yeah, this one is very wholesome, I remember.
Yuno gets a text message from Sai to come to her apartment from the back way. Miyako jumps off the second story to get there. Yeah. You think you think
Action.
um yeah, like they didn't really get hurt or anything. Yeah, they find out
Mm.
that Sai is hiding from her editor as she tries to finish her next novel before the deadline. Okay. I don't remember. I don't. You said that it was wholesome. Where did they go? Where did they go to draw? Um,
Hmm?
you said that Miyako and Yuno going to draw stuff was wholesome or something.
Yes, it was what in this series passes as relationship building episode, basically not relationship in the sense of sentimental, but sometimes you have these kind of episode of chapters or whatever the hell in a piece of media in which two character in particular of the cast are taken away from the rest for a little bit and allowed to develop together. In here, nothing particularly is developed because they're both artists and they draw together and they are happy. And friendship is reconfirmed and everything, nothing. It's not like the plot is going forward because there is no plot. And despite that, it is pleasant to watch them though.
Any
I
idea?
think it's a good point.
Any idea why the title is 3% of hope?
I don't freaking remember. I remember it making sense vaguely.
Hmm. Yeah. I guess I wasn't paying much enough attention. So, episode 9, September 4th, the Wolf
Mhm.
of the Shinjuku Backstreets. Um, so Yuno and Miyako wake up early in the morning, and as they are leaving the apartment building, Yuno spots an envelope on the ground. She notices
Yeah.
a man not too far away, and it turns out he had dropped it. Tension. To show his thanks, he gives Yuno four lottery tickets, which were in the envelope. Is something going to happen? No. Spoilers. At school, a former student of Yoshinoya comes in to talk to Yuno's class, and Yuno starts wondering about her future dreams as an artist. Um,
Okay.
yeah, think, um, I guess they try to make a touching moment or something there. I mean, I guess it was all right. If,
I
um,
don't know if touching in the sense that we are having yeah, having a bit of introspection, perhaps. I don't know if exactly touching, but yeah, let's go with that.
it's like I think like she's like so this friend of Yoshinoya comes to talk
Mhm.
to the class and like she's starting to make movies and she explains why like she got into movies and whatever
Mhm.
um and then she starts asking the students in the class like what is your dream or whatever and they all have at least a couple of that she asks from to have an answer and she asks Yuno as well, but she doesn't have an answer. But that's not a problem either because Miyako, she does some noise or whatever, and people forget about
Mhm.
that. But then Yuno thinks about it, and I think the quote unquote resolution is like um when Miyako is like, why do you think like you will probably be drawing, be, just be drawing in the future, like and
Mhm.
it's like yeah, that's it. So that yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Um, Like
Sai buys the evening paper to check the numbers on the lottery tickets, but no one is a winner.
yeah.
But you see, everyone is a winner. We are
Basically,
all winning together because we are loving this show.
yeah. Like it's like don't think about it. That's basically the message.
Yeah.
About the future, don't think about it. Um. So November 3, her her Highness Yuno. The cultural
Episode 10.
Yeah, episode 10. The cultural festival is going on at Yuno school, but the night before, Yuno had tried to finish a piece for the art gallery, but ended up falling asleep before it was finished. Miyako, yeah, you remember this one, do you? Um, yeah, I don't think we need to read the whole thing. But basically, what happens is that the unfinished drawing is put up, and
People still like it,
yeah,
basically,
yeah.
because they think it was a stylistic choice. And obviously she goes, yeah, absolutely, it was a stylistic choice. Which is, nothing bad with that.
I think at the end of season 2 or something, like I think the last assignment that they have to do is like for school is they have to put they can put their art anywhere in the school. So
Mhm.
so the characters go around the school wondering whether this fire extinguisher or whatever is supposed to be an
Yeah.
art piece or not. Um, and so this is something which No Thank You brought up in his video, and
Mhm.
according to him, well, yeah, it's played as a joke for a gag, are these glasses supposed to be like a student's art project or, or something or not? But um, well, according to No Thank You anyway, the meaning of this is that well, yeah, it's played as a gag, but it's also true because what the show is trying to say is that real life lived normally is artistic in itself or something. Like some thought must have gone into designing that bloody fire extinguisher or glasses or whatever clothes that you are wearing, even if you are going out of your way not to care about what
Yeah,
what clothes you're wearing, that also has a meaning, says something about you, whatever. Um,
I suppose.
okay, I'm not sure whether this show is
Later,
saying any of it.
you,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah. Later, you and their friends go to a public bathhouse and talk about the festival.
Mm,
I think the public bathhouse is like a news that bespeaks of a civilization level of attainment, like the Romans, like the Japanese. People have bathhouses, public hot water. You are there together, getting a steam bath and talking about philosophy and so on and so forth. I think yes, I think a Japan with civilization because
yeah,
it still has public bathhouses and jelly. Let's go on.
yeah. It's not sexual at all. Um,
Mm. Not at all.
yeah, that's just just some Western, imperialism or
Yeah,
whatever, Western way of
based on
thinking.
Western expression or Turkish almost aggression of the concept.
Yeah, exactly. When the Japanese go to public bathhouses, they're not thinking about sex or whatever. Anyway,
Yeah,
only
yeah,
on
they never do. They're thinking about healing, which makes the inclusions of a public bathhouse in
yeah,
this context absolutely appropriate.
yeah,
Let's
exactly.
go.
Yeah, only in the West, the only places in the West where you are allowed to be naked is while having sex or in a high art, but in Japan it's a common thing because they are so civilized or something. Anyway, episode 11. April 28, around Cabbage. Yuno and her friends go to the zoo for a school assignment to sketch some of
Mhm.
the animals. Yeah, this is one of the only places where I remember chuckling, a little bit,
Yeah,
at one of Miyako's drawings, where because basically they are taken to the zoo so that they can draw, they can look at the animals and draw them as they are. But
Mhm.
the way that Miyako draws them, they're like, like it's it's a hippopotamus standing on two legs and with a huge head and a small body. But the face is realistic, and I found that a bit funny. Um,
Yeah. Also, Yoshinoya dresses up like a tour guide and acts like one on the way to the zoo by pointing things outside the window to the student, but soon becomes very car sick and has to stop. Yeah, the poor teacher Yoshinoya here shows off the whole of her syndrome. Basically, she has to cosplay to be someone different from who she is, and she has to put up a spectacle for the admiration of her students, despite the fact that they love her anyway, and so on and so forth. And you know,
yeah, that's basically.
it's the garbage dump of ideology, as Zizek would say.
So, at the zoo, Yuno and her friends go around and see many of the animals. Later, Yoshinoya ends up in front of Hidamari apartments, and Yuno and her friends. So basically, she loses consciousness in front of Hidamari apartments because of a car sickness or something. And Yuno and her friends take her to Hiro's apartment, where she rests for a time. After she leaves,
Mhm.
they discuss some of the rumors they have heard about Yoshinoya. And then, so one of the like, there's all sort of outrageous rumors, but one of the rumors is that like she saved that the teacher saved some an old woman, and but in their heads, the Hidamari girls, they can only imagine her as just cosplaying as those different roles, and they laugh at it.
Yeah.
But then Yoshinoya, the teacher, comes back in and says, I think she left something and she came to get that. And as she leaves, she says that, well, actually, she didn't save an old woman, but a boy, something
Mhm.
from getting hit by a cow, something like that. Um, one more episode left. December
Well,
25. Goodbye, Ume Sensei. Who was Ume Sensei? Um, on
uh,
yeah.
wait a second, I remember. I don't want to say bullshit. Main cast. Ah, what? I
Uh,
don't see here.
maybe it's a double meaning or something. Uh,
Yeah. I thought she was like no, not the principal, the other teacher. But no, it's not the name. Well, I don't know. It's probably like yeah, some wordplay, perhaps.
okay. So on Christmas Eve, Sai's younger sister Chika comes to visit and gets to meet Yuno, Miyako, and Hiro too. Um,
Okay.
yeah, they show Shika around Yuno's school and they run into Yoshinoya there, who later swings by in a Santa outfit and wishes them Merry Christmas. Chika later comes to Yuno's apartment in the middle of the night after Sai refused to give Chika her autograph. Sai, Miyako, and Hiro come by too and they stay up late into the night. On Christmas Day, Chika oversleeps and leaves quickly to meet someone in a neighboring town. Yuno and her friends spend the rest of the day together. Okay.
Chica is very cute.
Yeah, yeah, and I think they kind of tease that she has a boyfriend or whatever, but it turns out that she's just a fan of some
Yeah.
Yabuki or actor or something. Um, so it's a one-sided thing. And I guess the quote-unquote conflict here was that um, um, what's her name, Sayek, no, um, I can't remember the names now. The four-eyed, um, the one with the glasses and dark hair. What was her name again? The sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
She basically doesn't want to give her a signature autograph at first to Chika, uh,
Well,
and and she has been ignoring Chika um, ignoring her calls and whatever because she was busy writing or whatever. But then while Chika is asleep, um, she goes and writes puts an autograph in her uh, book or whatever. And
yeah.
yeah, that so basically they're friends again. Uh, okay, that's basically it. And you know what? I'm going to do something a bit is silly, which is that I'm actually going to watch the rest of the episodes on the real date because why not?
Yeah.
Uh,
Based.
there's not that many. Well, actually there are, but I think I probably like it more that way than watching them together. Or at least I hope. Or maybe I'll just forget everything. um,
Yeah, don't forget to do that. If I mean, if that's really the key to understand the vision of Akiyuki Shimbo, then perhaps you might be the trailblazer that finally understand the symbology, the Kabbalistic symbology of this show, I suppose.
hmm.
Like with Utena, in which I remember you, she becomes a car and he drives around the town.
Yeah, speaking of symbolism, I wonder what that what is that thing on Yuno's head? On her hair. Is that a? I've never seen anything like that in real life. It's like a
I
hairpin.
think, yeah, I think it's like I don't remember the core. I think Hera is just tied, basically. They want to convey that, but it's in 2D, so it looks like Etsy's. No
Yeah,
what I mean.
and they kind of do play around with it a bit, uh, like
Yeah.
um, like at one point I think maybe to save money on animation, like the characters are talking, but like they will only show like a symbol for the character, like the Ets
Oh,
for
yeah. Mm,
the glasses for the glasses girl, at the bun on the dieting girl. I can't remember any of the names,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
um, I can't remember what they used for Miyako. She doesn't have any. I don't think Miyako has anything that she
She
carries around.
has the longest hair of all. She has a ponytail. Perhaps they use that.
Hmm.
Don't remember exactly, bro. I
Okay,
told you.
so I guess the two questions left. First question, I don't know. It kind of feels inappropriate to ask who is best girl because not even because of how old they are exactly. Because obviously I've asked that
Mm,
question for other shows where the characters are the same age, but here they look
yeah.
younger, even though they're the same age.
Yeah, yeah, they look a bit. I think I can say either the teacher or the landlady are the best girl for the simple reason of being adults, and by process of elimination, since the teacher is not very,
Mentally, yeah. Um,
I will go with the landlady.
okay, then what about the rating out of 10?
I remember liking it. I would give it a 7 out of 10 for the comfy feeling. and for the third eye opening experiences.
Okay. Okay, then I'll also give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I feel like we often give this kind of scores in this show. I mean, because unless something is either offensive, basically, or exceptional, I think we stay there. We don't. We want to be nice, I suppose.
yeah, I think the problem with this kind of show is that if you try to make it exceptional, then
Yeah,
it's no longer the kind of show that it is.
yeah, exactly.
Basically. Um, okay. And with that said, let's end the stream, I guess. Unless you have
Okay.
any final thoughts. No. Mm.
Well, who and why should watch this show? This perhaps warrants a few words. I gave it a 7 out of 10 with the implication that it is a show that you will like a lot when you watch it in a certain mind frame and moment in your life, let us say. If you're stressed, if you're tired, if you need to do something, but you also need to unwind and so on and so forth, this is a very good show to be watching. You can literally take it in, put it in the background, and do your university thesis, and don't even notice that time is passing, and be comforted by cute girls while you're working, basically. And yes, this. Or you can focus on it. You can focus on it in a moment in which you feel depressed, in which you feel weak, and contemplate the void and contemplate the mantra of so what? Look, these girls, it's fine. Everything will be fine.
Yeah,
And those are my closing thoughts. Thank you, everyone.
yeah. I mean, just look at Yuno trying to. So basically, the thumbnail and the background image is Yuno, um, doing a sensory deprivation on herself, so that
Yes.
so that she doesn't feel sick during the car ride, the bus ride. So yeah, so basically be like that. I mean, a lot of people just when they're feeling depressed or sad or whatever, like they will go and watch Eva or something, and they will either come out of it feeling better, but sometimes feeling worse as well. I don't. I think um, maybe giving this kind of show a try as well might not hurt, because just to get your mind off, because when it comes to depressing stuff, like you're still uh, you know you don't want to like relate too much to the protagonist and like think, oh yeah, like Shinji maybe has a point, like that everybody would be better if everyone if everyone was dead, right? So yeah, so that is that.
Yeah, that's not the kind of ideation you want to go for. That when you're actually depressed watching Evangelion, let us say.
All right, and with that said, let's end the
Been a
stream.
pleasure.